secondary metabolites are also called as the central metabolites, and they are also called as the specialized metabolites. Water is the most abundant chemical that is present in a living organism. Those compounds having a molecular weight less than 1000 Dalton are called as the biomolecules or the micromolecules. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to another session on chapter 9, that is biomolecules. I am Dr. Divya, biology faculty, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysore, Temple of Excellence. So in the previous session, we had studied about the biomolecules, that is the carbon compounds, and also we studied about the inorganic compounds, and we found out how to find what type of compound is present in a living tissue. And also we studied about the amino acids, their structure, the lipids, their structure, and also about the nitrogenous bases, the nucleic acids, and the nucleosides and the nucleotides. In today's session, we shall study about some important components that are present in the plant, that is the primary and the secondary metabolites. So to begin with, the primary metabolites. So primary metabolites, thousands of different primary metabolites are usually present in the plants. So plants produce 1000 types of different chemicals, and these chemicals directly contribute towards the growth and development of the plants. So those chemical compounds that are produced in the plants which help or contribute directly in the growth and development of the plant is called as the primary metabolites. So there are some organic compounds such as the carbohydrates, fats, proteins, nucleic acids. So nucleic acids, chlorophylls, hemes, etc., which are required by the plants for the basic metabolic activities or biochemical processes to take place in them. So such compounds are called, or such organic compounds are called as the primary metabolites. And primary metabolites have different functions, and they play a very important role in the normal physiological processes or physiological activities in the case of plants. So therefore, what are primary metabolites? Those organic compounds that are produced by the plants which directly help in the daily metabolic processes or physiological processes to take place in the plant are called as the primary metabolites. So apart from the primary metabolites, there are also present some secondary metabolites in the plants. So secondary metabolites are those organic compounds which are formed by different organisms, but these organic compounds do not help the plants or animals directly, but they are useful for the human or the mankind for various economic importance and also for various ecological purposes. So they are not directly involved in the development of the organism, neither in the development, growth, nor reproduction, but they are very, very important in various ecological and other activities, and they are also important for the human welfare. So these secondary metabolites are also called as the central metabolites, and they are also called as the specialized metabolites. And these secondary metabolites, though they are not helpful to the plant directly, they are helpful for the human welfare. Say for example, we have rubber, then various drugs, spices, scents, pigments, and all these. And some secondary metabolites are also ecologically important for various physiological process. So we shall study about few of the secondary metabolites here. So pigment is one of the best secondary metabolites. Say for example, there are carotenoids and anthocyanins which are very, very helpful to the human beings, and also there are alkaloids such as, so carotenoids, anthocyanins and all, they don't play a very important role in the normal growth, development and all that in the case of plants, but they are useful for other purposes. Plants also produce secondary metabolites such as alkaloids. For the best example is morphine and codeine, which are usually drugs. And then they also produce terpenoids. So terpenoids such as the monoterpenes, the diterpenes, all these are also useful for the human beings, in order to produce various medicines, and also terpenoids, they also play a role in protecting the plants against various infectious pathogens and all that. And also there are certain secondary metabolites such as the essential oils. The best example is the lemongrass oil, sandalwood oil. All these are used in the perfume industries. Then also some plants produce secondary metabolites such as toxins, that is abrin, ricin. The best example is castor plant. They also produce the toxins, and they don't help the plants in the growth, development and all that, but they protect the plant against insects and all those things. Next, there are secondary metabolites such as lectins. So one of the best example is Concana Valin A. So this is used as an inflammatory drug, that is for medicinal purposes. All these lectins are used. Then various drugs can be available, that is vinblastine, curcumin. So curcumin is one of the best example, that is present in curcuma longa, that is turmeric. So in turmeric or turmeric, this curcumin, actually that yellow color is got by the curcumin that is present, and they have the best anti-cancer property, and also they have the wound healing property. Therefore they are used as drugs in order to prepare various medicines and all that. Then various polymeric substances such as rubber, gums, cellulose, all these rubber, that is latex and all that, they are used for manufacturing various industrial products and all that. So it is very, very useful. Be it the cover of the cars, the seat covers, and the shoes, everywhere this polymeric substances are being used. So these are the different secondary metabolites. They are not useful for the plant directly, but they are used for other ecological purposes, as well as they are used for the economic growth of the human beings as well. So these are the different secondary metabolites. So next, moving to biomacromolecules. So under biomacromolecules, in the earlier session we had studied about biomolecules. So there are two types of molecules that are present in a compound, that is acid insoluble fraction. So if you remember, in the previous session I told you about the acid soluble fraction and the acid insoluble fraction. Those compounds which dissolve in the acid and they get filtered, they are called, that filtrate is called as the acid soluble fraction. And those that remain in the cheesecloth or the cotton cloth, whichever is used for filtering or straining, that will become the acid insoluble fraction. So the acid insoluble fraction has only 4 types of organic compounds, that is proteins, nucleic acids, polysaccharides and lipids. But lipids, they are acid insoluble, but they are biomolecule or they are micromolecule. Whereas proteins, nucleic acids and polysaccharides, they are also acid insoluble, but they are biomacromolecules or they are macromolecules. So these classes of compounds, that is the proteins, the nucleic acids and polysaccharides, except for the lipids, the other 3, they have a molecular weight in the range of 10,000 Dalton. So 10,000 Dalton is the molecular weight. So those compounds having a molecular weight of 10,000 Dalton and above are called as the biomacromolecules or the macromolecules. And those compounds having a molecular weight less than 1,000 Dalton are called as the biomolecules or the micromolecules. And lipid, they have a weight of 800 Dalton. And that is why lipids are biomolecules. They are biomolecules. They are not biomacromolecules. So those which have a molecular weight less than 1,000 Dalton are usually referred to as the micromolecules, or simply they are called as the biomolecules, while those which are found in the acid insoluble fraction are called as the macromolecules or the biomacromolecules. So what I will do is, now I'll perform an experiment wherein I'll take a plant tissue, I'll grind it, and then that paste I will put it in a beaker. So on a beaker I need to filter. So what I'll do is I'll cover this beaker with a cheesecloth. On top of this I will put the paste, that is the leaf paste. Now those The micromolecules and all that is the biomolecules, will pass through the filter. Why? Because they are acid soluble. They will pass through this particular cloth and they will form the filtrate. Now in this filtrate, what is there? Biomolecules are there, or micromolecules are there, and in this whatever is remaining, that is acid insoluble fraction. So whatever is remaining, this will be the acid insoluble fraction. So this acid insoluble fraction, it is the macromolecule. It is macromolecule. So actually lipid, it is a micromolecule, but it should come and fall in the filtrate, right? But it will remain along with the other macromolecules. So why is it? We shall see. So here, why do lipids whose molecular weight does not exceed 800 Dalton come under acid insoluble fraction? So what did I tell you? Biomacromolecules are acid insoluble, whereas biomolecules are acid soluble. But here lipid is a biomolecule, but still why is it acid insoluble? Why is it? Because lipids, though they have a small molecular, though they are small molecular weight compound having a weight of 800 Dalton, they form. Where are the lipids present? They are the constituents of the cell membrane. So in the plant cell membrane, 2 layers of lipids will be arranged, right? So here, as you can see, 2 layers of lipids are arranged. Now I am grinding the cells. In the leaf tissue, what is there? Cells are there. I am grinding the cell. So what is the cell covered by? Cell membrane. What is the cell membrane made up of? Lipids. So when I am grinding the cell, what happens? The lipids and all will break into pieces and they will become structures called as the vesicles. So they will be broken into small pieces and they will form the vesicles. Now these broken or disrupted lipid cells, they are water insoluble. Lipids, fats, they do not dissolve in water. They are water insoluble. That is, they are not water soluble. So because they are not water soluble, what happens? They will remain on the cheesecloth. Now what happens? The lipids will remain on the cheesecloth. They will not filter. They will not filter. So that is why even though lipids are micromolecules, they remain along with the macromolecules in the acid insoluble fraction. This is the acid insoluble fraction. So filtrate, whatever filtrate got collected in the beaker, right, that will be the acid soluble fraction. Those that are remaining on the cheesecloth itself, it will be the acid insoluble fraction, and the lipids, they do not come and fall into the filtrate. They will remain in the cheesecloth itself along with the other biomacromolecules. Therefore, in spite of being a micromolecule or a biomolecule, lipids, they are acid insoluble for this particular reason. So that therefore these membrane fragments in the form of vesicle, they get separated along with the acid insoluble pool and hence they remain in the macromolecule fraction. Which is the macromolecule fraction? This fraction itself, they will remain. They will not filter into the micromolecule fraction. So that is why lipids, even though they have a molecular weight of 800 kilodalton, they are acid insoluble. So next, talking about the acid soluble pool. So acid soluble pool means those components or compounds which dissolve easily in the acid. So acid soluble pool, they represent roughly the cytoplasmic composition. So whatever components are present in the cytoplasm, or the cytoplasm is the acid soluble pool, whereas all the other organelles that are present in the cytoplasm, they are the acid insoluble fraction. Why? Because most of the organelles, they are membrane bound. They will remain in the acid insoluble fraction. And together they represent the entire chemical composition of the organism. So both the organism will be made up of acid soluble fraction as well as acid insoluble fraction, right? Say for example, here as you can see, There are, depending on how, like the component, what the cells are made up of, and how much percentage is actually it is made up of. So water, 70 to 90% of the cell is made up of water, and 10 to 15% is made up of protein, then 3% is made up of carbohydrate, 2% is made up of lipid, 5 to 7% is of nucleic acid, and only 1% is of ions. Therefore, so this is about the components that are present in a cell and the percentage of how much is actually present in the cell. So therefore, if we consider the chemical composition of the cell together, we can find out that water is the most abundant chemical that is present in a living organism. Rest all is made up of only proteins, 10 to 15, only very little amount of proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, nucleic acids and ions are present. So I hope you understood this session wherein we studied what are the different types of compounds that are present in a cell, especially apart from having amino acids, nucleic acids and lipids. The cells are also made up of the primary metabolites and the secondary metabolites, and also we studied about the micromolecules and the macromolecules, and we also came to know that lipid, though it is a micromolecule, why still it is present in, it remains along with the other macromolecules in the acid insoluble fraction instead of getting filtered into the acid soluble fraction. So I hope you understood this session well. We shall meet again in the coming session. So in the coming session, we shall discuss about the different types of compounds, that is, be it the amino acid, the lipids, the nucleic acids, what are their structures and how can we analyze them, all that we will study in the coming session. So we shall meet again in the coming session. Thank you.